But the reason why I came here was because I had this conversation with a Marine where, well, not a Marine, but a couple of Marines where we were talking about why I don't feel happy. And I explained the reason why is because my happiness comes from the fight to achieve a goal, the fight to want to make things happen, right? Because when I'm in the grind, I'm constantly focused on what I can do now to work to get to the end goal, right? Kind of to where I am at now, I believe. Um, right now I'm in the grind, trying to figure out this new position I'm in. And before that, I was in the drone school, for example. I was trying to figure out how to actually pass that, how to actually be better, how to actually grow. When I was a martial art instructor, I was trying to figure out how can I survive every day, one day at a time, right? And that kind of taught me that, well, taught me a little bit about myself. The fact that maybe happiness for me comes from the grind. Not everyone understands it, right? Some people think it's sad or that I'm depressed, but I'm not. I think I've just kind of prepared myself to deal with things in a way that's appropriate for myself. So when I get too excited, I try to calm down and remain in the gray area, right? Because think about the gray area is that's where that's where you're logical. That's where you're not thinking too much. That's where you can make things happen. But when you're not there, that's when things go kind of crazy. Not crazy, but you may overthink. You may move too fast. You may act too decisively because you're too excited. You're too angry. You're too mad. You're too sad. But when you achieve that specific middle ground, that specific gray area, then that's where I believe the big things happen at, which is what I'm trying to achieve every single day, right? And yes, there are days when I have my days when I join to quit and give up, meaning on that task or that thing I'm trying to do now in life. I'm not one of those people, right? But there are days when I'm to quit and give up. But I think back, if I was an old man in a chair, rocking back and forth, thinking about my life, what story will be inside my book? What story will I be looking at? What story will I be able to tell my grandkids or my kids of things I did? I did a lot so far, but the real question I like to ask myself constantly is what new chapter of the book can I open up or write? What new chapter of the book can I write? Where can I add little details to edit the book a little bit more to make it more interesting for the reader, right? Because in general, life is your autobiography. It's your book to others detailing how you thought, how you lived. And I believe once you understand that, then that's how you grow. Similar to what Steve Jobs said, this world was made by people no smarter than me and you. And once you figure out that all you have to do is poke a hole in one side and the hole will some way somehow go out the other and things will happen, then you understand that you have the ability to do what you want to do. Sometimes you have to sacrifice. Sometimes you have to get the constant reps in to do what you need to do. Sometimes it sucks. A majority of the time it sucks. But guess what? Would you rather suck now when you're young or The youngest you'll ever be in your life, or would you rather it suck later when you're older, when things don't really make any sense, right? For me personally, I'd rather suck now when I'm at the youngest I will ever be in my entire life because the grind is real. And most, I think the max age for humans maybe is like 80. So the time frame I have from now until my death is about 60 years now. That's not a long time. It's not. But what that does mean is that if I continue to focus on the hard times, continue to focus on the overall goal, and work my way to get there, while it may be a struggle, in the end, eventually, as the years pass by, I will eventually be where I want to be at. And you can do the same. All you have to do is believe in yourself. Where I believe belief is kind of like a no, you can use the word belief, right? Believe in yourself. But you have to break it down into actionable behaviors that you can do in order for you to be better. For example, if I were to ask you, how can you be charismatic? What do you think that means? Maybe for some, it means smiling when you laugh. Maybe for some, it means being a person who everyone laughs at, who everyone feels kind of who everyone gravitates around. But you can break charismatic down to small behaviors. For example, when I speak to you, I'm going to look you in the eye. I'm going to use hand and arm gesture to make sure that what I'm saying makes sense to both you and the people I'm talking to, right? I'm going to smile as I'm talking to prove my point and nod my head to the side slightly when you're speaking to show I'm listening. And when you're speaking, I'm going to clarify what you just said back to me to show you that I understand what you're saying and reply back with something that makes sense because of that. I think the path to growth is easy, but most know what they need to do. We just don't do it.